information, healthy bowel movements, unhealthy bowel movements. We're going to talk about that. It's important. Intestinal tract, gut problems. And we're not just going to be having fun talking about poop. We're actually going to be talking about the gut, how it works a little bit too. So information that's really important to know. So that's what I'm doing here right now. It's good to see you guys live on TikTok, live on Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, live on Telegram. Happy to be here. You guys click the follow button, the like button, whatever you want to do. If you like this video, we're going to have some fun. Going to read some comments. I got some comments right here that are really important too. Good ones. And what you'll see, a whole bunch of things set up right here. Okay, I got a whole bunch of stuff. You'll see the nut butters are here. You'll see the nuts are here. You'll see everything here. You'll see chocolates here. Chocolate. We got all kinds of stuff here, that oil, everything else. And so this is an important live. You would say, well, why is this an important live about poop? Because everybody looks in the toilet after they go. Very few people on the planet don't look behind them after they've gone, okay? Everybody looks. That's what they do. They get up and they look. Those down in there like, yeah, looks pretty good. And so what happens is that like poop's everything to everybody for so many reasons. You know, we don't talk about it. We don't want to talk about it. We're embarrassed to talk about it. At the same time, every time you go to your doctor, your physician, your healthcare provider, whatever it is, they're always asking questions. People are always concerned. Their stomach problems, everything else. So it's kind of important in so many different ways. Good to see you guys coming on. We're live right now. This is kind of part of the poopathon I promised you guys. So this is an episode on poop. So let's get started, okay? So what I love, okay, is questions that are, well, that's not what I learned in school, AW. Hey, that's not what I learned. Or that's not what I learned in training. Or that's not what I was taught in the medical field. Don't listen to this man because he doesn't know anything. And, you know, I love when that happens because I see that happen all the time, right? Doesn't matter how many people got better at medical meme information. Doesn't matter that medical meme information is the first in chronic illness to change the rules out there where people are healing rapidly all around the world. That doesn't matter. None of that, right? Just know you learn something about poop that's misinformation. You hold on to that for the rest of your life and you think you're solid. So the point is that questions come about and it's like, okay, I always heard that when a poop floats, then you're in trouble. A healthy poop sinks. That's what people say. A healthy poop sinks. Unhealthy poop floats, right? So that's what people are trained to think or trained to know. But you got to think about, and I said this before, all the people dying, all the hospitals filled with very ill people, okay? And their poops all sink. There's people that are dying, only got a couple weeks to live, and their poops are sinking. So it's not that the person's poop is perfectly healthy and fine, but they're going to die in 2 weeks. So they're unhealthy. They're obviously dying. They're very ill. Okay? But their poop is healthy. Everything about their poop is healthy. It sinks. It's healthy. You got to think about that for a minute there, right? Understand what that means and how it works. Okay? Sun Moon Love says, still hungry from your other live. I don't know if you're going to be hungry anymore because we're talking about poop. But it was really an incredible live. So anyway, at Amazon Live, you guys got to catch it when you get the chance. Just so you know, we did a killer like game day prepared for, we did a 7-layer dip and buffalo wings and everything. You guys got to check out that Amazon Live when you get a chance. The link is in the description, link is in the profile. So it's like a Super Bowl meal I made. So, and healthy too. It was cauliflower. That's incredible. Cauliflower bites. Buffalo cauliflower bites. You got to check it out. So right now we're talking about poop. I'm glad you guys are coming on. Good to see everybody. All right. So what happens is the misinformation is really rampant out there about poop. You can have people dying sick, real sick, all kinds of problems in their intestinal tract, all kinds of different disorders, different conditions, and their poop will sink. It'll sink. It will. And that's what happens, and people don't realize this. Michael Scoots, good to see you. People don't realize this, that's what happens. And so you can, I talked to nurses all through the years. I've talked to doctors, and they'll tell you. I know, like I was talking about this in Amazon Live. A friend of mine's an emergency room doctor, right? And he's dealing with the sickest people on the planet rolling in, just rolling in, right? Deathly ill. their poop sinks. So now the person's sick, the person's dying, the person has organ failure, but their poops are healthy. Does that make any sense to you? It doesn't make any sense. That's the whole point. And then think about this. Millions of people. In the U.S. alone, over 275 million Americans are sick. Yes. 275 million Americans are sick, you guys, with symptoms and conditions. Some gravely sick, some just moderately sick, some partly sick, and their poop all sinks. I don't think we can just confidently say, right, that if a poop sinks, it's great and that's what we've been taught. You got to think about that. 275 million Americans alone. I'm not talking about worldwide. Billions of people on the planet, their poop sinks. Billions are sick with symptoms and conditions. So we have to kind of like take a look at that to begin with and see how that works. And nothing makes sense. Holly's Health says nothing in the medical system makes sense. True. Very little does. So let's get into this a little bit. So here's the deal. If your poop floats, that means you must have pancreatic cancer. That means you're not digesting your fats. That means it must be all fat in your poop, right? That's the misinformation. So that's the part that's the misinformation. Okay? Right? So that's that part there. Is, wait a minute. If your poop floats, you're sick. You're sick. It's interesting. Someone dying in the hospital, organ failure and every other problem, right? Really sick on tons of medications, everything else. Their poop sinks to the bottom of the toilet. They're not sick. Someone who doesn't exhibit one symptom, their poop floats. All of a sudden, they're the one dying? Think about that. So that's why this misinformation is so basically filled with so many different aspects of it that we're going to cover and go through that are just perplexing in so many ways. So let's go into that a little bit, you guys. So we're talking about poop. I want to grab a glass here with water. Okay? So the misinformation out there is if your poop floats, that means you're sick, very unhealthy, unwell, you're not digesting your food right, and all the fat is floating to the surface. That's what we're taught right there. Okay? But you got to remember, you're being taught that from the industry, both medical communities, both alternative and conventional, that don't know why anybody's sick and don't know why anybody got sick. That's how it's always been. That's why people go to doctor with mystery symptoms and they never find any answers. So we're taught that by those guys, right? Even functional medicine doctors, we're taught that by them. That's great. But there are people that have been to a lot of functional medicine doctors and still didn't heal until they found MMinfo. And that's why functional medicine doctors now use MMinfo. But the point is let's go into how it works. Your stool floating or stool sinking. Now, I said the healthiest stool is a stool that's mid-floating. Poop that's mid-floating. It's okay if your poop sinks. If you're eating really healthy and you're working on your healing process, you got a good diet and your poop sinks, that's okay. When you eventually get so healthy and your liver heals and everything cleans up, your poop will start to float a little bit. Your poop will start going mid-float, like a mid-float. There's a reason for that. One reason is because you're absorbing every last little bit of fat, every last little bit of protein and fats being utilized and absorbed. And when all your fat and your protein gets utilized and absorbed, you guys, your stool starts to mid-float. It starts to take a little bit of elevation. It starts to float a little bit. This is so important to know right here. So we have to understand something. When your digestive system is so sharp, your liver's literally breaking down every bit of that fat and it's going into your bloodstream, right? Your stomach's breaking down every bit of that protein, breaking it down to nothing, right? But what's going to be left in your stool, you guys, is fiber. Fiber floats. Fiber and pulp will float. So you have to know that. It's important to know. That will float. So let's take a banana, right? A banana is a lot of sugar, like we know, right? That's your sugar, is banana, okay? So I'm going to put a piece of banana in here, right? You'll see the banana float. Your banana isn't an overt fat. It doesn't have a lot of protein in it. It doesn't have a lot of fat in it. Notice it's floating. Important to know. Let's take a lemon now, all right? So let's take a lemon next. Let's do a lemon slice right here, okay? A lemon is pulp, fiber, right? And your lemon's floating. See how it works? So that's your lemon. It's floating, okay? So what happens is that there's no overt fat in here. So everybody keeps on saying, well, it's fat that floats. It's fat that floats. That's why you're sick. It's fat that floats. It's fat. That's not true. That's not entirely true. And we're going to go through all of this. Okay? Nature's Gift said, or that is made up of mostly water and air. Not true. There's no air in a banana. So you're wrong. I'm sorry. There's no air in a banana. Very important to know. Okay? There's no air inside the lemon. There's no space for air, and there's no air inside of a lemon. It is liquid, pulp, fiber, pith, pectin. And all of that floats. Very important to know, right? So I know you don't like to be debunked. I get it. You don't like to be debunked. No one likes to be debunked. They don't. It's another reason why a lot of people in the field of medicine don't like medical medium, because they hate being debunked over and over and over again. They look like a fool, and then they don't know what to do, and they're like, oh my God, we've been wrong. Let's take a cucumber slice now, okay? So I got a cucumber slice in here. Cucumber's floating. So I thought that means you're dying if your stool floats. So if you're somebody that eats lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, lots of leafy greens, lots of wild foods, and your stool floats, you're dying? Does that make any sense? See, this is important information. So I would recommend rewatching this live. I really would, because we're going to cover this like all through it, right? So let's go a little bit more. Celery. There's no air in celery, okay? There's no air in celery. Celery's floating, right? See? There's no fat in the celery. There's no fat in the cucumber. There's no fat in the lemon. There's no fat in the banana. It's not an overt fat. Why is it all floating and there's no gas in here? You guys, there is no gas in here. You can't say that a stool that floats because it's made out of pith, fiber, pectin, and pulp. You can't say that there's gas in there. That's not how it works. Fiber floats. All these things float. You see how it works? Your diet, when it's high in all of this, you get a mid-floating poop and a floating poop, and it's the healthiest poop you can ever get. And I'll tell you why. See? Let's go into a little bit more on why and everything. So here we are. So right now, if you guys just came on here, I'm going to read some questions about poop. We're part of the poop. This is part of the Poopathon I've been promising. I hope I can deliver. There's lots of fun stuff to talk about poop. So let's go. Let's get into it a little bit. So I got another glass right here. All right. We all know chocolate's high in fat. If fat is why your poop is floating because you're not digesting any fat, and you're thinking, oh, well, a sick poop is undigested fat, and that's just the way it goes. So let's take a look here. Okay? I'm going to put some chocolate in here. The chocolate sinks to the bottom like a rock, just like your poop. Just like your shit. It just goes down to the bottom. See how it works? When you eat a diet with a chocolate bar in it, it's going to sink to the bottom when you poo it out. Because your poop is going to be filled with fat and protein. When fat is in your poop, it sinks to the bottom of the toilet. Everybody has a weak liver. People dying in the hospital have weak and dysfunctional livers. There's people dying in the hospital with liver failure. And they can't digest any of their fat, but their poop is stuck to the bottom of the toilet. I know so. Talked to a lot of patients. I talked to a lot of doctors. And that happens. You can have liver failure and your poops all float to the bottom of the toilet. So let's do some more different chocolate here. We got some chocolate chips. All these chocolate chips are sinking to the bottom of the toilet. See? That's right. Like that. That's how it goes. So I'm dropping all those chocolate chips down into the bottom, and there they are. Right? Let's do another little test too. So let's keep on testing. We'll have some more fun here, right? Let's go with some cashews, right? Dropping some cashews in here too. They're all going down to the bottom. They're all sinking. Now, cashews have air in them. You have to break the cashew open because they actually have an air pocket like a balloon. So if you put a whole cashew in, it might float. But what happens, you need to know, is that when you let the air out, because you'll see in the middle of a cashew, you have a pocket in there. It's hollow. Cashews are actually hollow. They're filled with air. It's important to know. So when you break the cashew in half, you'll notice they all sink. Because that's what fat does. It sinks, right? That's the fat that everybody's eating. So let's go into a couple more things. Let's do this. We're going to do some almonds too. Almonds are sinking. See? Here's how it works. Everybody, if they all had their stools analyzed, right, and profiles were done on how much fat and protein's in their stools, it would be loaded with lots of fat. That's why their poops are sinking. The fat's not being broken down or digested. This is an unhealthy sign. This means that people living their lives, the whole world is pooping and it's sinking to the bottom of the toilet. The whole world's getting sick. And everybody's poop sinks because everybody's poops are filled with digestive problems. They have digestive problems and their poops are filled with undigested fat and protein, see? So when you eat a whole bunch of almond butter, you're not breaking all the almond butter down. So what's happening is your almond butter is being pooped out, and that puts the smear on the toilet. That puts the smear on the toilet. Right in there in the basin, right? That slimy smear, that's avocado, that's chocolate, chocolate, that's nut butter, that's tahini peanut butter. That's all of that is being smeared there. If you're only on bananas, you're not going to get a smear in the toilet. Your poop will probably float if you're only on banana after a while. Daisy says not true. Well, I'm not sure who she's saying not true to, but that's what Daisy's saying. So I have an egg right here. An egg is high in fat. This is why doctors for many years said, be cautious about eggs because it'll bring you to a heart attack. And then the egg industry pays for all these, new ads and new studies and everything to try to get people to start eating eggs again. And so the whole propaganda and everybody thinks eggs are healthy. And then, against sane advice that you eat too many eggs, you'll get a buildup of fat inside your heart and arteries and cardiovascular system, and you'll be set up for a stroke, heart attack, or whatever. Yeah? Right? So there's a question right there. Daisy says, I eat unhealthy and my poop is never sinking, right? And I'm going to cover that. You can have gastritis and have a lot of gas, and your poop can float from lots of gas from a digestive system that's also struggling. But everybody in a hospital, in every single hospital in the United States and abroad or anywhere else, right? Overseas or whatever, they're in the hospital, their poops are sinking. They're sick as dogs, most of those people, and their poop is sinking. I got an egg right here, right? So I'm going to drop an egg in here. Okay? So I just put an egg in this. That egg sunk to the bottom, is what that egg did. So people eat eggs every day. That egg is high in fat. And here's what's something interesting. That egg has air in it too. And look how heavy the fat is and the protein is in that egg. Look how heavy eggs are really high in fat. Okay? That's sunk to the bottom. See that egg? When people eat eggs and they're undigested and they don't realize it, their poop sinks to the bottom of the toilet. I'm trying to tell you guys, when your digestive system is not sharp, Daisy says, okay, that's true. I have gas issues. Yeah. Of course. Thank you for saying that. Some people, they just won't say anything back. They'll just be like, you're wrong. So thank you. It's really kind of you, actually. And so you have to understand here, even with air inside that egg sinks to the bottom. So that's important to know. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, some of you might doubt that that's not a real egg, and I actually understand that. Okay? So let me get this out here. All right? Some of you might doubt that that's a real egg. So, and I don't blame you, really. Right. So I just dumped the water out. I got the egg right here. Okay? So, that's a real egg. I don't know if you can see that egg in there. And that's the egg yolk right there. See if you can see that. Just because I know that you guys know that I have props and stuff, you're thinking, well, maybe that's just a prop. But no, that's a real egg right there. I just wanted to show you guys that. So let's keep on moving along. Let's go into some nut butters really quick, okay? I'm going to answer some questions too. Let me show you nut butter. Here we have some almond butter. There's oil just rolling around on the top of this nut butter, right? Why is he wearing gloves? What do you mean? Do I want raw egg all over the board? I don't feel like dying. I don't feel like killing a family member tonight. Family member comes in here and starts using my cutting board with raw egg all over my cutting board and starts to make themselves a snack. Maybe they chop up some cucumber slices up or something like that, and they get that raw egg on the cucumber. This is the last thing I want. God forbid. They end up in the hospital with salmonella. You guys got to remember, you leave your egg salad in the sun for 5 seconds, they say you can die. They say you can't leave your potato salad or egg salad with mayonnaise, which is egg. You can't leave it outside of like room temperature or on a picnic table too long. They say you're going to get sick and you're going to end up dead. There's a reason for that. I know two people that died at a table in a restaurant from salmonella. They never made it to the hospital in time. They literally died at the table. At the table. And then if you don't cook your chicken thoroughly, you can die. Isn't that crazy? So yeah, I got a glove on while I'm cracking open an egg. So that's almond butter right there. It's sunk right to the bottom. Almond butter, when you have a tablespoon of almond butter, your poop will sink to the bottom because the almond butter won't be fully digested because everybody has a weak liver, stagnant, sluggish liver. The liver's not working good. And their hydrochloric acid's not strong. So unhealthy poops. It sinks to the bottom. So your almond butter ends up going to the bottom. Your eggs end up going to the bottom. You see how it works? All of that goes to the bottom. Same thing with peanut butter right here. Smith and Pepper says, I have tons of digestive issues and health issues, and my poop sinks for sure. Absolutely. Because you can have celiac, Crohn's, colitis, and your poop sinks to the bottom. Then why is everybody saying it's a healthy poop? See where the misinformation is? But it takes a real, awakening to know how the system is so corrupted and backwards with everything. Just everything. So let's go into some questions, right? Here's one right here. Show me the research that states floating poop is linked to positive health and not dysfunction. I will wait, right? Oh, you'll wait? Just like all the other people with chronic illness for the last 30, 40 years that waited for 10 years, 20 years, had to get their thyroid removed. No research to help them. All the people with severe chronic fatigue syndrome and neurological disorders, they waited. Everybody with lupus and multiple sclerosis, they waited. Everybody waited and went to 20, 30 doctors. So you'll wait too. Okay, good. I'm glad you'll wait. So let's take a look here. I got a question right here. Being sarcastic. Anthony, I'm not saying that I disagree with you because I believe in your information. All I'm saying is this. Instead of using peanut butter tahini nuts for your experiment, why didn't you use a spoonful of butter, drizzles of any oil, spoonful of lard? A spoonful of straight cholesterol, you will find that those float. I agree with you that if you have a high fiber diet, your stools are going to float more than sink. And I understand your reasoning. You can still have a high fiber diet, but if you're eating that peanut butter and that almond butter and that fat and all that other stuff that I'm saying, your poop's going to sink to the bottom, even with a high fiber diet. So I agree with you that if you have a high fiber diet, your stools are going to float more than sink. And I understand your reasoning and I appreciate your teaching, but blocked bile ducts and gallstones can cause a fatty stool or malabsorption of fat, not peanut butter fat. So peanut butter fat won't float, but some other fat will? Here's how it works, okay? What happens is people that have digestive problems and their poop floats just because they have a blocked bile duct, their poop's not floating because the fat's not undigested, because of a blocked bile duct. Their poop's floating because they're sick with a ton of gas. What happens is this: when you have pancreatitis or pancreatic problems or pancreatic duct problems or any kind of duct problem, even pancreatic cancer, the reason why your poop floats is because your entire intestinal tract is filled with a ton of gas because your liver and your pancreas are failing to break down and digest stuff. So what's happening is your stool is all gas. People with pancreatic disease, pancreatic cancer, blocked bile ducts have the worst streaming gastritis, where it's air that comes out nonstop, where it's pouring out nonstop. Now, someone may not have that experience of knowing how that works, but I actually know how that works, and I've seen this so over and over again. I've known people with pancreatic cancer, known lots of them, hundreds of them over the years. I talked to doctors about lots of patients with the same thing. The gas streams out of them and pours out of them, and that gas fills the stool, and that's what makes the stool float. Important to know. So now I'm going to talk about something else within this question, just so you know. So let's go into that. So what this person is saying, right, and I respect this person's question, it's great. They're saying, why aren't you trying lard? So let's try other oil. Let's try butter. So Anthony, why aren't you using butter? I'll tell you why I'm not using butter. Right? I got some butter in here, and you'll see the butter float. So this is a stick of butter, right? Okay? And the butter floats, right? But people eat that much butter on their pancakes every day, and their poop sinks. People eat butter in their food. They put butter on their chicken. Their poop stinks, and it sinks. People put butter in their food and their poops all sink. All these people eating butter, their poop sinks every day because no one's just eating butter. No one is just eating a whole stick of butter. Sure, if you eat, ready for this? If you eat whole sticks of butter, like 1 whole stick of butter, 2 whole sticks of butter, and 3 whole sticks of butter in a day, and you poop butter straight out, it's still not going to float. Even though it floats as butter here, it won't float after you've gone to bathroom. If you eat 3 sticks of butter in a day, the sticks of butter are going to collect other little bits of debris in your intestinal tract anyway. It's going to come out as butter because you're eating just butter, and it's going to sink. And that's what people don't realize. If you eat just butter. People aren't eating just butter anyway. No one's eating 3 sticks, 4 sticks of butter. No one's just downing a whole ton of butter. That's not what they're doing. But if you do down a lot of butter, like 3 sticks, 4 sticks of butter, your poop's not going to float. Your poop's still going to sink. The reason why I'm not using butter as a poop test in here, having it float, is because no one eats more than that much butter, and that butter in their poo still sinks to the bottom of the toilet. See how it works? So no one's eating just straight fat by itself. Now here's a pure example of this. If you drink a bottle of olive oil, most of the olive oil that goes into the toilet will sink. It'll wrap up with little bits of debris that's in your intestinal tract, and all the oil will be in globules, and it'll sink to the bottom of the toilet. But a little bit of olive oil will surface, so you'll still see some surfacing to the top. But nobody drinks a whole bottle of olive oil. Nobody eats sticks and sticks of butter by themselves on their own. They have a little butter on their pancakes or waffles. They have a little butter on their steak, but their poops are still sinking to the bottom of the toilet, and there's still butter in their stool. Here's the interesting thing. If you get a stool test, they'll find butter fat in the poop that sunk to the bottom, along with the steak and everything else they ate. So I want to answer a couple more questions too. Karen Burkett says, I've been doing MM for 6 months now religiously, and my poops still stink. Yeah, and I said this last time too. Okay? Inside our guts, right? This is important to know. Inside our guts, we have lots of debris stuck to the inside of our guts. First of all, Karen, when someone says they've been doing MM for 6 months, I don't know what that means. It could be dabbling, and no offense. I'm honored you're doing it. I'm happy you're doing it for your health. But Karen, is it dabbling? Are you doing the mono cleanse for 6 months? Are you doing the 369 advance for 6 months? Are you doing the heavy metal detox smoothie and the 369? Are you doing 32 ounces of celery juice, heavy metal detox smoothie, 369? Are you doing the morning cleanse? Are you doing the heavy metal detox cleanse? So are you doing it in supplementation? Are you doing anything else? So when someone says I'm doing MM, it might be a little bit of celery juice, and then you're doing a couple of recipes, or it could be a little less or a little more. And if your poop still sinks, you might have a lot more healing to do. You might need to do more, tools. I'm not saying everybody needs to do MM and then have a poop that actually floats midway or to the top. I'm saying it's going to happen to you if you clean up long enough. You'll see it mid-float, and it will be fiber, it will be pulp, it will be pectin, and any fat and any protein in that stool is gone. You will have a stool that if it was analyzed by a functional medicine doctor, they wouldn't find fat or protein in it, and they would be confused. They'd be like, this stool is all cucumber and lemon and banana and potato and all these other things, where it's all fiber, pulp, pectin, right? It's all of that. And any protein and fat in your diet gets absorbed quickly. So then all of a sudden your liver gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and your stomach breaks down everything and it gets stronger. That's what happens when people bring back their guts. They're doing the mono cleanse for a long time and they bring back their guts. It gets so strong, there's no protein and fat in their stool anymore, even if they eat avocado. That means if that person eats an avocado, the poop still won't sink. If the person has a little bit of nuts, the poop won't sink. And I'll tell you why. They got their guts so sharp and so strong, and their hydrochloric acid, HCl, was so strong breaking down those proteins, and their liver broke everything down, and their pancreas, right, sent out a lot of digestive enzymes, and all of that was so keen and so strong that their poops took mid-flight in the toilet. They took mid-flight. They actually started surfacing a little bit, and they were clean, and they were filled with fiber and pulp, and all the fat, and even in avocado, if you ate an avocado, was absorbed and utilized and broken down, and it wasn't still in the intestinal tract. So here's what happens. People walk around with all this in their intestinal tract. That peanut butter can stay in there for years. That chicken can stay in there for years. That egg can stay in the intestinal tract on the walls, bits and pieces, for years. It can stay in the liver. All of this can stay in the liver. The peanut butter, the almond butter can stay in the liver for years. And it builds up and it builds up and it builds up and it rots and it builds up. And when it does, right, your system breaks down a little bit. You don't have that strength of the HCl and the bile. And then what happens is every poop just sinks. Every poop sinks. Every poop sinks. And they sink. But man, you do like 369 advance and you're all raw long enough. And you clean up all that debris. And you do the mono cleanse and you're all clean long enough. And you're doing that. And you take all the overt fats out. And you build up your liver. And you build up your HCl. Man, you're going to be cleaning things up so much that when you drop a little avocado inside your stomach, did you hear this? Check this out. Did you guys hear this? All the time it happens. There's always somebody in the medical medium community that does the mono cleanse for a year or two to heal everything. They heal everything. And then they say, I'm sick of eating just these these foods. I'm sick of this. I'm going to go and have avocado, and I'm going to go and have beans, and I'm going to go and have rice, and I'm going to go to have all these things I want to have, chicken, and I'm going to go and have all that, and I feel great. And my system's working great because all that they did by building themselves up and strengthening their liver and their stomach. And when you take it to that point, you end up going to the bathroom, you'll just see fiber come up because all the protein and all the fat will be gone. And what's happening is everybody on their nut butter is fine. Everybody on their eggs, whatever they want to be on, chicken, nut butters, eggs, whatever it is that they're doing, it doesn't get fully broken down. It becomes a dead weight and it's in the stool. Whether your functional medicine doctor knows it or anybody else, it becomes heavy and it sits in the stool and it goes to the bottom 12 and that's fine. You can still be healthy even though things are breaking down. Like your liver's weakening, your HCL's weakening, things are going wrong. You can still be a fairly healthy person. You can be on a medical medium diet healing yourself. And your poops don't take mid-flight yet because you're not there yet. But it's okay. You're getting healthier, getting rid of symptoms, you're getting stronger. Your poop still sinks, but still. Right? Bruce says, nice, informative. Mid-floater is the most healthy it could be. Mid-floaters. That's the one when they're floating in the middle of the water in the toilet. That's when it's healthy. Right? I showed you guys. Okay? There's no fat in here. Cucumbers and celery is floating. There's no air in there, by the way. There's the lemon. It's liquid, right? Pulp, fiber, pectin. It's floating. Banana, floating, right? All of that's floating. There's no fat in any of those. They're all floating. Here's the chocolate and the cacao nibs. All sunk to the bottom, right? All sunk to the bottom. Here's the nut butters and peanut butter. Almond butter, I could put peanut butter in there, right? All sunk to the bottom. That's how it works. That's how it works. There's lots of fat in that. There's lots of fat in the peanut butter, okay? So all this is important to know, right? There's lots of fat in that peanut butter, so I'm going to go in here and just get a big hunk of peanut butter out. Everybody knows how fatty peanut butter is. They all know this, right? Okay? So the peanut butter just sunk like lead. And here's what happens. You have a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Of course your poop's going to sink. Your digestive system's not going to be that strong. Your bile's not working that great. Your liver's not working that great. And your peanut butter's going to stick to the bottom of the toilet. You're going to see a streak in the bottom of the toilet. That's going to be the peanut butter streak. If someone has a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, guess what? They're going to have a streak at the bottom of the toilet. That's how it works. Brandy says, I've been egg-free, dairy-free, and celery juicing, healing soups, heavy metal detox smoothie, lemon water daily, no fats until after 12. I could feel the changes. No bloating, less inflammation, better skin, warts gone, boils gone. Incredible. Incredible. If you guys had the books yet, this is Cleanse to Heal. Check it out. Right? Amazon.com, US. 51% off. Medical textbook. Right? Get it free at the library. Someone said in YouTube, they said, you know what? I like the fact that the guy says go to the library and get the book for free. No one does that. I saw that on YouTube, that comment. I was like, hey, that guy's cool. Thanks, man. I've always said it. Go to the library. I don't care if everybody goes to the library. Just get it for free then. It doesn't matter to me because here's the problem. Sure, right? Everybody has to make a living and survive, right? All of that, okay? But I'd rather have you healing, getting the information somehow for free. That's why we do so much for free. I'd rather have that. I'd rather know that you're healing. I mean, in the end, that's what matters. I mean, okay? So, we're live right now. I think we're still live. So you guys, all right, let's get into this a little bit more now. Let's figure this out. So, we're talking about building up the digestion, strengthening it, and that's what we do. That's what medical medium information does. That's what the celery juice does. That's what all the mono cleanse. That's what everything else. I'm going to go, you guys. We're going to go to IG. We have a tech problem right now. I'm excited. Let's go to IG. Let's do some cool stuff. We're going to have some fun. TikTok, I'll see you there. Telegram, I'll see you there. All you guys, I'll see you there. And I can't wait.